Morning, Vananda. Today we are going to discuss about the fixed and switched capacitors and what is the best allocation for the capacitors. Okay, that will be discussed in the present class. In the previous class, we already discussed about the what is meant by the power capacitor and how we will be use the power capacitor and what is the reason for improvement of that power factor and what are the various compensation methods for that power factor methods that all will be discussed in the previous class. Now in the present class, we discuss about the fixed switched capacitors and also the what is the best allocation for the capacitors. Okay, first coming to the fixed capacitors, where the load does not changes or where the capacitor is switched with the load. Okay, if the capacitor is switched with that load, such a load side of ideally suited for the power factor correction in the application of a motor contactor. Okay, it is suitable for the location using the induction motors. Okay, therefore this fixed type of capacitors are suitable for in the case of a induction motors like foot processing plants or when small multiple loads require reactive power compensation. Where the reactive power is compensation for that small loads, in that case we are using the fixed capacitors. Okay, what is the main use of fixed capacitors for compensation of power factor improvements? Okay, each fixed capacitor bank is designed for the high reliability and the long life. Okay, it having the long life. These products are designed for applications that do not contain the harmonic generations. Okay, do not contain the harmonic generations. Okay, therefore the fixed capacitors are used in the case of the induction motors. Okay, it is suitable for the locations using the induction motors like the food processing plants or when the small multiple loads that will be required for the compensation for the low reactive powers. Okay, in that case we are using the fixed capacitors. Okay, therefore this fixed capacitors having the long life and more reliability. Next, switched capacitors. Okay, it is suitable for the centralized power factor correction in the applications where the plant loading is constantly changing, resulting in the need for a varying amount of reactive powers. Okay, in the any one of the cases, the reactive powers is to be varying more. Okay, in that case, we are using the switched capacitors. Okay, therefore, it is suitable for the centralized power factor correction. Okay, in the application where the plant loading is constantly changes, where the plant loads are constantly changes. Okay, in that case, this type of capacitors are used. An advanced microprocessor based reactive power control measures the plant power factor via a single remote current transformer and switched capacitor module in out of the service to maintain the user selected target power factors. Okay, therefore this will be applied to the service entrance or the near fluctuating loads. Okay, therefore this switched capacitors is suitable for the centralized power factor corrections. Therefore, next one is the synchronous condensers. Okay, it is an silent pole synchronous generator without the prime mover. Therefore, the synchronous condenser stabilizes the power system voltage by supplying the reactive power to the power system and use of power factor corrections. Okay, it is more economical than the capacitors. Okay, therefore synchronous condenser is a silent pole type of synchronous generators. Okay, it is a silent pole of synchronous generators without the prime movers. Okay, this synchronous condenser stabilize the power system voltages and this will be used for stabilizing the power system voltages by supplying the reactive power to the power system and use of power factor corrections. Okay, this is the most economical for the improvement of the power capacitors. Next, how the power factor is to be measured. Okay, therefore the power factor can be measured by using the power factor meters. Therefore the power factors can be measured by the power factor meters. Okay, which is known in the power industries. Therefore that will be used in the case of a power industries. Therefore the power factor can also be calculated by installing the watt meter along with the ammeters. Why? Because means the watt meter measures the power and ammeter measures the current, and the voltmeter is measures the voltage using the power factor basic formula. Okay, what is the power factor basic formula? Therefore the power factor is equal to, that is the cos phi, then the cos phi is equal to the actual power by apparent power. Therefore the power factor is equal to the, it is the ratio of actual power to the apparent power. Therefore by using the watt meter, voltmeter and ammeter that will be connected into the system, then we measure the power factor mathematically. Okay, theoretically we are measuring the, practically we are measuring the power factor by using the power factor measuring equipments, or otherwise we are using the by using the calculation by installing the watt meter and ammeter and voltmeter to the system, then we easily calculate that power factors. Therefore the formula for the power factor is the actual power to the apparent power. Therefore the formula is the ratio of actual power to the apparent power. Okay, by using this formula we calculate the power factor. Therefore, the actual power is the P and apparent power is the S. Okay, in this case, we are using the watt meter and the ammeter. Okay, therefore, S is equal to the I into E. Okay, E is the supply voltage, that is the 240 volts, and I is the ammeter current that will be measured by this ammeter. Okay, therefore, we easily calculate the S. Apparent power. Therefore, we are calculating the power factor. What is the formula for power factor? That is P by S, where P is the active power that will be measured by using this watt meter. Okay, understand ma? The active power that will be measured by this watt meter, and the reactive power is calculated by using this ammeter that will be connected to the supply voltage. Okay, therefore we are calculating the apparent power, then we are calculating the power factor is the ratio of actual power to the apparent power. Okay, what is the actual power that will be measured by this watt meter, that is the 1.5 kilowatts. Okay, therefore we are observing the watt meter reading is the 1.5 kilowatts and S is equal to the 2.3 kVA. Okay, that will be calculated by using this formula. Therefore, S is equal to I into E. E is the supply voltage and I is the ammeter reading. Okay, then we calculate the power factor. Okay, this is the measurement of that power factor. Okay, what is the moderate power factor? That is the 0.8. If the power factor is increases in any one of the cases or the decreases in any one of the cases, then the consumer pays the penalties and the incentives for that low and the high power factors. Okay, if you are obtaining the low power factors, then the consumer pays the penalties for that low power factor. Okay, if the power factor is high, then the consumer that pays the discount for that high power factors. Okay, this is the low power factor and the high power factors advantages and disadvantages. Okay, therefore when we are obtaining the moderate power factor, there is no effect for that consumer side and also the generating side. Okay, therefore that is the main reason for calculating the power factor by using the power factor meters or the watt meter and the ammeter that will be connected to the circuit. Then we easily calculate the ratio of actual power to the apparent power. Okay, it is the ratio of actual power to the apparent power. Okay, that is the calculation of a power factor. Okay, next coming to the problem. Okay, that's coming to the problem. Assume that 2.4 kilovolts single phase circuit feeds a load of 360 kilowatts and load current is 200 amperes. Okay, it is designed to improve the power factor. Determine the following. Uncorrected power factor and the reactive power. Okay, we determine the unconnected power factor and the reactive power. Next one is the new corrected power factor after installing a shunt capacitor with the rating of 300 kVAr. Okay, therefore, apparent power. Okay, how we will we calculate that apparent power? That is S is equal to the V into I. Okay, from the power triangle, what is the power? That is 360 kilowatts. And S is equal to the V into I, and then we find the reactive power, that is the Q. Okay, therefore, V is equal to 2.4 kilowatts. In the question, we are giving the V is equal to 2.4 kilowatts and I is equal to 200. Okay, then substitute and we calculate the S is equal to 480 kVA. After that, we are calculating the Q, that is the reactive power. Okay, therefore, what is the formula for reactive power? That is Q is equal to the square root of S square minus P square. Then Q is equal to square root of S square minus P square. Therefore, S is the active power, that is 480 square, and P is the P is the power, that is the 360 square. Then we obtain the reactive power, that is the Q. Okay, therefore Q is equal to 317.5 kVAr. Okay, therefore uncorrected if cos theta. Okay, what is the formula for cos theta? Therefore cos theta is equal to P by cos theta is equal to P by root of P square plus Q square. Okay, then cos theta is equal to P by root of P square plus Q square. Okay, in this case, what is the P value? Therefore, in this case, what is the P value? That is 360 kilowatts by root of P square plus Q square. Okay, what is the P square value? That is equal to 360 square. 360 square plus Q square. Okay, what is the Q square value? That is the 317.5 kilowatts. Okay, that is Q is the 317.5 kilowatts. Okay, by calculating this value, then we obtain the cos theta. Okay, that will be equal to 75%. After installing the shunt capacitor, correction, what is the corrected power factor? That is cos theta nu. Okay, that will be cos theta nu. After correcting the shunt capacitor, therefore Q is equal to the 300 kVAr, that will be given in the question, and then we substitute power is equal to 360. Then we calculate, that is 360 by square root of 360 square plus Q is the 300 kVAr whole square. 300 square. Then we obtain the cos by nu when we are installing the shunt capacitor. When we are installing the shunt capacitor into the system, therefore the reactive power, that is Q, will be changes. Okay, therefore the power factor is also changed from old to the new value. Okay, this is the procedure for calculating the power factors. Next, what is the economic justification of that capacitor? Okay, how that economical justification that will be given for that capacitors? Okay, by improving the capacitors, flowing benefits that can be obtained, that is the improves the power factor. By using the capacitors, okay, we can improve the power factor and reduce the losses and reduce the voltage drops and improve the voltage profile and maintain the group voltage regulations regulations. Okay, these are many economical benefits due to the installation of capacitors into the line. Okay, by installing the capacitors into the line, then we obtain these following benefits. That is, first one is the they improve the power factor, and second one is they reduce the losses. Third one is the reduce the voltage drops and improves the voltage profile and maintains the good voltage regulations. Okay, therefore these are the main economic benefits due to the installation of capacitors into the system. Okay, in this case, that is the increase the generation capacity. Okay, by using that capacitors, therefore we increase the generation capacity and increase the transmission capacity and increase the distribution capacity. Okay, therefore we obtain the so many benefits throughout the generating, transmission and the distribution systems. Okay, when we are adding the shunt capacitors or the series capacitors or the switched and the fixed capacitors to the system, then we are having the more benefits in the case of a generation, transmission and the distribution systems. How that benefits that will be obtained when we are adding the shunt capacitor to the system, that will be explained in the given formula. Okay, by increasing the generating capacity and increasing the transmission capacity and increasing the distribution capacity. First, the expression for increasing the generation capacity. Therefore, delta SG2 equal to 1 minus QC square cos square theta by SG2 square whole power 1 by 2 plus QC sin theta SG minus 1 into SG. Okay, this is the fixed formula for calculating the changes in the generation capacity in the case of a generating system. Okay, therefore delta SG is the benefits in the generation capacity and Q is the reactive power that will be supplied to the system. Okay, similarly, we write down the transmission capacity. When we are write down the transmission capacity, we are using the same formula, but there is a small difference. Okay, in this case, SG is replaced with the ST. Okay, therefore, delta ST is equal to 1 minus Q square cos square theta by ST square into whole power 1 by 2 plus QC sin theta by ST minus 1 into ST. Okay, therefore, delta ST is the benefits in the transmission capacity and ST is the transmission capacity before installation of the capacitor. Okay, therefore, this ST is the transmission capacity before installing the capacitor, and delta ST is the benefits in the transmission capacity and delta ST is the benefits in the transmission capacity. Next, what is the formula for that in the case of installing the distribution capacity? Okay, therefore delta SD. Okay, therefore we are substituting ST is replaced with the SD. Then delta SD is the benefits in the distribution capacity. Delta SD is equal to 1 minus QC square cos square theta by SD square whole power 1 by 2 plus QC sin theta by SD minus 1 into SD. Okay, therefore delta SD is the benefits in the distribution capacity and SD is the distribution capacity before the installation of capacitors. Okay, before the installation of the capacitors. Okay, these are the way economical justification for the capacitors in the case of a distribution, transmission and the generation systems. Next, determination of best location of the installation capacity. Okay, how we will determine the best location of that installation capacity. Okay, therefore, the locating the capacitors at a suitable best location is very important factor to get the desired result. Okay, to get the perfect results. Okay, we are selecting the perfect location for the installation of that capacitors. Okay, there is a procedure to determine the best location of the installation capacity. That is, the line having a resistance. Okay, I is the current flowing. Okay, therefore this is the line, that line having that resistance, and I is the current flowing through this line. If the current component is resolved into two components, this current component is resolved into two components. That is, first one is the active component, second one is the reactive component. Therefore, this current is resolved into two components, that is the active component and the reactive component. Okay, therefore, when we are taking this line, that line having the resistance and also current flowing through that line, then that the current is resolved into two components, that is the active current and the reactive currents, active current and the reactive component current. Okay, therefore I square R losses can be written as, okay, therefore I square R is equal to I cos phi square into R plus I sin phi square into R. I cos phi square into R plus I sin phi square into R. Okay, consider this is the equation number 1. Okay, therefore, this equation 1 is represented as a losses before the capacitor installation. Okay, this is the equation that will be represented as the losses before the, what is the losses? That is the copper losses. I square R means the copper losses that will be measured before the installation of the capacitor. That is I cos phi square into R plus I sin phi square into R. Okay, next, the new I square R losses. Okay, what is the new I square losses after installing that capacity? Okay, when we are installing that capacity, how the losses will be changed? Okay, that means I square R new. Okay, that means I square R new. Okay, therefore I square R new is equal to the I square cos square R plus I sin phi minus IC. Okay, this is the charging current that will be added when we are connecting the capacitor to that system. Okay, therefore I sin phi minus IC whole square into R. Okay, therefore differences between these two losses can be written as, when comparing to these two losses, therefore delta P loss is equal to, okay, what is the power losses? That is the changes in the copper losses. That is I square R minus I square R new. I square R new. Okay, that is when subtracting these two equations, then we obtain 2 into I sin phi ICR minus IC square into R. When subtracting these two equations, then we obtain the 2 into I sin phi ICR minus IC square into R. Okay, and then in this equation, okay, we common the ICR term. Okay, in this equation, we common the ICR. Okay, therefore, by common that ICR term, then we obtain the delta P loss. That is the change in the power loss when we are installing the capacitor. Okay, that will be equal to 2 into I sin phi minus IC into ICR. 2 into I sin phi minus IC into ICR. Okay, this is the change in the power losses when the capacitor is installed in the system. Okay, clear, ma? Next, where delta PLS, where delta PLS is the change in the power losses when the capacitor that will be installed in the system, that will be equal to loss reduction due to the installation capacity. Okay, when we are using the capacitors that will be connected into the system, then how the system losses will be reduced, how the power losses that will be reduced, that all will be calculated. That is the loss reduction due to the installation of capacity. Therefore, delta PLS is the loss reduction due to the installation capacity of the system. Okay, therefore, the best location for installing the capacitors is where this loss reduction, okay, therefore this loss reduction is the maximum value. Okay, what is the best location of the capacitor? When the loss reduction due to the installation of the capacity is maximum value. Okay, that means the delta PLS is the maximum value. Okay, in that case only the is in that place is the only the best location for that capacitor installation. Okay, that's why we are deriving this formula when we are calculating the delta PLS, that is the loss reduction when we are connecting the capacitors. Okay, this value is the maximum at the particular case. In that case only the best location of that capacitors. Okay, and it's clear, ma? Okay, this is the best location of that capacitors installations. Okay, by using that power loss calculation formula. Okay, clear? Okay, thank you. We continue in the next class.